This whole topic ties into really attaching yourself to the Quran and Sunnah, to Allah and Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and not to like personalities. And knowing that even if I obtain good from somebody, whether they be a celebrity shuyukh, a professional imam, sincere person, that your deen is not dependent on them, right? Because that gets into the whole cult mentality where you think, okay, this person represents the deen for me. This person represents Islam. And we're trying to pull people away from that. Everybody most of our viewers that are tuning to this, you're trying to, whether it's yourself, your friends, family, whatever, you're trying to pull people towards the path of truth, right? To the correct version of Islam. And what's happening and what we're seeing happening on a day-to-day basis is that people are on this mission. They're on this path to go to the goal of getting to the Quran and Sunnah, to the straight path, away from falsehood. And there's so many different stories and representatives of this idea. Like for instance, in I think it's Greek mythology, you have the idea of these sirens, right?
Mhm.
Where it's these beautiful ladies that are on an island and they sing these beautiful enchanting songs to the sailors that are on a mission. They have a goal, they're trying to get somewhere, right? But like, what is that beautiful sound? Oh my gosh, look at those beautiful ladies over there. They're calling me. Like, it's okay if I stop over here. And what do? They provide them with comfort. They provide them with ease. They provide them with good company. They provide them
Wait,
with everything that they're looking for, right? Thinking like, okay, it's okay if I stop here. But meanwhile, they're in danger, right? They're actually in probably more danger than they were at the place because they left, but now they're stuck and they're never actually going to get to their goal. Because what sirens do, these beautiful ladies aren't actually ladies at all. They're actually creatures. They're actually demons that actually eat the sailors. And there's so many different stories in different cultures. Like even our American story of the tortoise and the hare is a representation of that. Like the hare should have been won the race, but he kept what? Stopping, going for comfort, taking a nap. I'm okay. I'm cool. Right. And then the problem is that we talk about this idea of people being fence riders, right? People that leave cults, they leave in the cult, but then they stop. They stop dead in the middle and they don't want to upset anybody. And it's kind of related to like the type of celebrity, or not celebrity, but the type of speakers Mubarak talked about where they have a following. We call it a following. You can call it a network. You can call it relationships. They have something that they actually don't want to give up to actually reach the truth. And it's this place of comfort. I'm comfortable with these relationships. People are calling people backwards, right? No, come back here with me where I'm comfortable at because I want more people here where I'm at. And that's the fence. I called it the swamp. Like you're actually stuck. You're stuck
but
in a place where you're actually, the more you do things, you're going to sink even further. Right. And it's really upsetting because in the work that we're trying to do and the work that alhamdulillah Allah has allowed us to be engaged with, and all we got to say is alhamdulillah that we're in this position to be able to try to give dawah and try to give blessings for it. And that's really the only reason we do it. And the secondary, not the only reason, the secondary reason we do it is because we want to help people. We want people to, make it to Jannah. We want people to follow the Quran and the Sunnah. And then when we see people who are supposed to be on this path with us, helping people get away from the falsehood of this cult life, the shirk, first and foremost, the bid'ah, secondly, and the corruption, the transgression, the oppression. And instead of coming on this side of the fence with us and saying, hey, come away from the danger, they're telling people, no, come back, come to me, come to where I'm at. And we've kind of addressed this individual multiple times without saying his name in hopes that he might get the message. But it's at the point where it's like, okay, we have to mention this individual by name because now he's hurting. It's actually a danger to people that are trying to move to the truth. And his brother, Hanif J. Williams, as he goes by, HJW, everybody knows who he is. He used to be with our group. Our He was one of the original people that was a part of it. He left our group and came back to our group. I don't even know how many times, throughout things, but that's the point of why we're here. He recently released a message, if Amr could pull it up.
yes, give me 1 second.
he released a message. I believe like this is the second or third time that he has publicly disassociated himself from R2F, which it's fine. We don't do this to have people that claim to be associated with us or to claim ties with us or anything like that. If you could zoom in a little bit for people to see. Does it allow you to do it or no?
Hold on, let me put it in that Word document. Okay.
So again, we don't do this. We started this with the hopes of trying to guide one person. Most people have left. More people have left and are still with us. So alhamdulillah, we have, people that have stuck with us from the very beginning and are still trying and still working as much as we can to help guide people away from the cult of, TMOA. However, Hanif, and this is not the first time, he's one of these people that are calling people back towards the direction of falsehood, right? He's calling people back, and we say this all the time. We have people that are trying to pretty much appease the cult members while at the same time enjoying the benefits of, I'm not actually part of the cult. But mentally, spiritually, emotionally, they actually still are part of the cult. And Allah knows best what's in their heart. We talk about sincerity, we don't know what's in their heart, but the apparent actions would show that, you actually still want to be a part of that. That's the only reason why you would hang on to it. You can go to the message real quick.
Yeah, right. Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah. Many of us have relatives, both immediate family and extended, who are part of TMOA as we call them. This is our shared experience, whether you are a part of TMOA or not, voluntarily or involuntarily. Unfortunately, we are now facing two groups of extreme individuals. These individuals do not represent the majority on either side of this unfortunate reality, which includes separation of communities, families, and lifelong friendships. One very small group has recently advised Muslims to not attend the janazah of their own believing Muslim family members. Another small group, associated with certain administrators, have become notorious by actively preventing Muslims from attending janazahs, which has now spanned over 2 decades. Both groups and their actions are wrong, and preventing or advising against janazah attendance is a major sin. The only way to resolve this fitna is to return to authentic sunnah. Nabi Muhammad said, "It is not permissible for any Muslim who has something to will to delay it without having their last will and testament written and kept ready." Sahih Bukhari Hadith 2738. We have prepared a template for you for your use. We encourage you to complete it and share with your family, especially those who might discourage or prevent others from attending your janazah, which can harm your hereafter. May Allah soften our hearts, grant us a good ending, and bless us with Jannah Firdaus. The slave of Allah, Hanif J. Williams.
Okay, so just a little context. We released a video about attending cult members' janazas or funerals. And everything we said in there, it was me who released the video, but everything else said in the video was supported with Quran and Sunnah, right? And this individual and others, of course, disagreed with it, right? And then afterward, this individual, Hanif called me and at like late that night and asked me to take the video down because of multiple reasons. The first reason he gave, he said it was bad timing because that day, Monday, there was a janazah of, what's his name? Wadud,
Yeah.
right? He's not a doctor. Wadud. He passed away and he had his janazah on Monday. He's a cult member. He was a cult leader, heavily on the Jews for all I know. Maybe other people know differently. But he had a janazah on Monday. It just happened to be that we released a video on Monday. We don't keep track of TMOA janazahs or anything. But, I mean, I know my personal opinion would have been to release the video anyway because of the benefit that people would have had. And actually, knowing what actually happened at the janazah, if people would actually follow the advice of the video, they could have avoided all the drama that actually happened at the janazah. I think we need to go through this line by line just so people can be aware of just the example of this message of what they need to be aware of, because we kind of touched on it. We talked about the speakers, because he does some of these things in here that some of these type of speakers do, and the points where he's actually totally wrong about.
Absolutely, absolutely. I need to ISO real quick on the very first line, where Hanif mentions about how many of us have relatives, both immediate family, extended, who are part of TMOA. Now, we have been doing this dawah for over 5 years at this point in time. Hanif, you have been out of the Jamaat for a long time as well. You spent your time to go study under Sheikh Al-Kasha and various other shiu. And really what it feels like to me, especially for people who are out of the Jamaat skeptically, fence fighters, is the death of these old heads feels like guilt to them, because they haven't done enough to get them off the juice. And it's going to like, dang, like this person, you know that they're upon falsehood. What dude was one of our biggest antagonists, who was all pro-Yunani this, all pro-Yunani this, seven times this, and we can't all of a sudden act like the transgressions upon the law and are just like nullified because he died. No, when he was alive and a parent, yes, they believed in 9 gods. We're not going to act like the seven Sultan of Fukr wasn't a thing. And so for people, right, you can't have the excuse of, oh, I don't want to be too harsh on them and stop them from getting to where they need to go, stop them from coming back to proper Islam, because this is all that they knew, all that they know. Their old heads were stubborn. Listen, my parents were some of the people who bought pictures, all right, okay, early on to make the Kool-Aid. They helped make the Kool-Aid. They stirred it up. They gave us the Kool-Aid as kids, right? And even through all that, I was the first person in my family out of Jamaat, right? And my parents are well-known, established members of the community. Was I going to be very laissez-faire and soft with them about, oh, this person, these beliefs? It's like, it's kind of bad. It's like, I mean, it could be better stuff, but like, you can't be soft on its approach. You can't try to be in the middle path between the 9 gods that they worship and your one god of the law. It's not okay.
Yeah.
How about we just do 4.5 gods? Yeah. So this is not. I wasn't going to, because my parents have been old my whole life, right? I wasn't going to, because as you get older, hey, listen, you get closer to going back to a law. I couldn't sit with myself, live with myself, if I said, I know for a fact that these beliefs are falsehood. I'm going to let my parents, my family, stay upon this falsehood while I'm alive. I don't care how mean I sounded. I don't care how harsh I may have been with my tone verbiage. The end of the day is, my parents knew. So on a shout out, Amr does not believe in anything involving Jelani. He wouldn't let us say Jelani or Himhullah, none of that stuff. He wouldn't let us fantasize about the old times. No. So you people, right, who are on the fence or off the mind, why are you worried about these people who are upon falsehood? It's because you love them. I get that. So do your best while they're still alive, right? Because, hey, by all accounts, you all have left this falsehood beliefs, right? You know they're false. That's the reason why you left. It wasn't just because, No, make sure, especially with old heads, make sure you love them so much, get them off the juice. Get them out of these shirk bidah beliefs, so that way you can say, alhamdulillah, will they pass away? Yes, I can safely attend their funeral, right? I can know in my heart of hearts, inshallah, they'll be going to Jannah.
So, I just, for the people who may be watching or will watch this that don't understand why this issue is the way it is, as far as janazas and going or not, and why it's even an issue, it's because the issue is the beliefs of the TMOA group, the Aqidah, of what, as far as this documented, is what they allegedly believe to be part of the group. Now, we're not talking about each individual, what they believe, what they understand about it or whatever, but as far as the TMOA is concerned, they believe that their sheikh, the one who came, Mubarak Jilani, 40 years ago, is part of Allah. This is the belief.
Yeah.
To be in this group, you believe that a man is one of 7 sultans. That's what they call them. And these people are part of Allah. They're sparks of Allah's nur, and it's in their documents. it's okay to call them Allah. And so, as any Muslim knows that this is kufr. If you believe that Allah is more than one, then you are not a Muslim. Okay? So, the people who believe this, and the person who died recently, and many others, they have not only talked about how they believe in the sultans, in these concepts, but they defend it. And as far as we know, they died on that same belief. So this is documented. This is documented that this person and many others believe this. So we know as Muslims that this belief, to believe that anyone has the attributes of Allah, even some of these people call on him when they're in trouble and in fights and different things, they call on this person, not that he's around the corner in another room, he's across the world, but they call on him min dunillah, besides Allah. So this is why the people who have been very clear about their belief in the seven sultans and about Mubarak Jalani and him having the attributes that are exclusively for Allah, that they have exited Islam because these beliefs are not compatible with the Shahada, with being Muslim. And so that's why you have the issue here where people want to go to their janazah. Muslims want to go to a janazah of a person who, by his own admission, believes something that's not part of Islam. He believes in a different religion. And anyone who believes Mubarak Jalani has the attributes of Allah. Anyone who believes that one of the seven sultans, any of them, are part of Allah, were created from Allah, then they are not Muslim either. So this is their beliefs. And that's why the issue is here. And I'll إنا براء منكم ومما تعبدون من دون الله كفرنا بكم وبدا بيننا وبينكم العداوة والبغضاء أبدا حتى تؤمنوا بالله وحده. Right? So Allah says in the ayah that has already been an excellent pattern in Ibrahim for those and those with him when they said to their people. Now, this is Allah. This is what Allah is telling us. This is an example for us. They believe that Allah is at least seven sultans and Allah, who has from him created from himself, and they are part of Allah, a spark of Allah who broke off and became these seven people. And they were born before creation, and they were created in all these other things. There's lots of shirk and innovation, pure kufr in these beliefs. And when this is explained to them, and they still double down on it, and they still say, hey, if Mubarak Jalani said it, I believe it, then their religion is Jalani. Their religion is him. And let them get their reward from him. Let them get whatever he gets. But as far as the Muslims are concerned, we follow Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And this, as Allah said in this ayah, until they believe in Allah alone, singular, wahdahu, in his oneness. Allah alone, that's it. So that is the issue. That's where between us and them is the issue. And it's only there because of the kufr that's involved. And if it goes away, any sort of separation will go away. But to want to attend the janazah of a person who clearly has said they believe something other than what Allah is saying here, then that's where the issue is. So I hope we can understand. From there, you can go ahead.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to get more context of like what, as far as our Muslim rights and attending funerals, whether they be non-Muslims, Muslims, innovator Muslims, you can go watch our videos on our channel. The proofs are there, the explanations are there. Just go watch it. And remember, we are Muslim, so we have to try our best, no matter what our emotions are, no matter what our feelings are, to do what is going to be most pleasing to Allah and Rasul, to Allah. And it will use an example of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Okay? We give the advice. That's all we're doing. We're trying to advise people that is going to put them in the best situation based on the Quran and the Sunnah. So, and I just want to point out that this message, he starts off with obviously invoking people's emotions, and this is what people do, right? We all have friends and family, and we're an extended family who are part of TMOA. And we'll get to more of it, but pay attention as we go through this message. And as someone who, and we talked about this just in the previous segment, right? One of the tricks, and this is a trick that cult leaders do. This is a trick that the pretender scholars do, is they constantly make reference to something, right? I'm on the path of the Salaf. I'm on the path of the Salaf. I follow the Quran and Sunnah. I follow the Quran and Sunnah. And you hear these people say this, but then when they actually start saying something, they actually don't base it on what they say that they're upon. And just pay attention to how many times an ayat or hadith are mentioned in this message. And the answer will become very apparent once if you listen to the first time we read it and once we get to the end. So you can go ahead, Amr.
Okay. This is our shared experience, whether you are part of TMOA or not, voluntarily or involuntarily. Okay. Unfortunately, we are now facing two groups of extreme individuals.
Okay, hold up 1 second. Let's go back to that sentence. This is our shared experience. So this is like a love bomb, this is our shared experience, whether you are part of TMOA or not, voluntary or involuntarily. As if it's like just involuntary, as if it's like, whether you're stuck at the DMV, whether they had to delay the lady who was at the counter went to lunch or not, as it's just simply involuntary or involuntarily. Involuntarily would be people who are afraid that they're going to be harmed physically, which has been done, financially, which has been done, socially, which has been done, their life being threatened, which has been done, for being in opposition to the cult. So they stay in involuntarily. That's what that means. It's not something that you can gloss over, our shared experience. That's not something they say, well, it's our shared experience, as this is something positive or even neutral. There's nothing positive or neutral about this being a shared experience. The experience is either you're involved in shirk or you are being oppressed by people involved in shirk.
Yes.
That's it. So there's no positive thing you can draw from this being our shared experience. What is it? Oh, because we have family members. We mentioned the ayah and what Ibrahim and those with him said to their people. It's just a matter of, at the end of the day, Allah says we're going to be raised alone. Fardan. You're going to be raised alone. You're going to be questioned alone. And you're going to be either thrown into Jahannam or admitted into Jannah alone on your own merits. It's not going to be because you borrowed some actions or deeds of another person, or because you were part of a TMOA group or not. So that's a trick. And see, that this is the thing. It sounds nice. This is our shared experience, whether you're part of TMOA or not. We don't share anything. We don't share the same beliefs. We don't share the same religion. If you believe that Mubarak Jalani is part of Allah, we don't have the same religion. If you believe in the 7 sultans, we don't share anything. So there's not a shared experience.
It's funny how this individual disassociated himself from us. And I just talks about how Ibrahim say, I disassociate myself from y'all who are engaged in shirk. And then like you just mentioned, this sentence says, like, it's basically, it's funny how Allah had it timed out that your talk on these different type of speakers, they're saying things they want to grab the most people in, right? And what does this sentence do? I want a sentence that's going to attract the most people to this message. So whether you are part of TMOA or not, so I want the people in TMOA and the people not in TMOA, voluntary or involuntary. So I want people that are stuck in TMOA that don't want to be there, and the people that were kicked out that don't want to be there. I want everybody to come listen to me and be a part of this with me.
And so what's the smallest group? The smallest group is actually the people who, under no circumstances, will compromise anything regarding their religion in the context of the Timoan ideology, their people. If someone comes face to face with me in that group, they're already going to know. They're not going to have any sort of, or any of us, not just me, but if they see Jafar or Amar or any of us, they're going to automatically know exactly where we stand. And we're not going to be violent or anything like that. We even give them salams or whatever. It's not like, but the thing is, there's not going to be any ambiguity about what we believe ourselves and what we believe about your beliefs. And you're not going to be able to get away if we come face to face without me reminding you about it, without me addressing it with you. Why? Because we want people to make sure to help to guide people. And we don't want what is very clear, what Allah says He does to people who believe or who make partners with Allah, who believe that Allah is more than one. This is clear.
Imagine one of these. Imagine like one of these TMOA believers, right? Somebody you know who's on the juice, just some random reason contacts one of us to ask us like, what's the ruling on making Taimun? And I'm going to say like, well, forget about that. What about the shirk? Forget about the Taimun.
Exactly.
What about the shirk you believe in? Like, that's what the conversation is going to go back to. I'm not going to talk about a Taimun when you're actively involved in shirk, right? Like, let's have the bigger conversation. And just like Mubarak said, it's what these people aren't talking about. And it's individual like Hanif, like there's so many examples over the years, and other people, he's not the only one. There's other people like him. They say these ambiguous statements so that people can say, okay, no, he's still with us, or he's not that bad. And people do this all the time, especially with, first it was me by myself before we had R2F, but then people now use R2F as a way like, okay, look, I'm not as bad as those guys.
R2F, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
except me, I'm not as bad as them, right? And this is exactly what he's doing again. He's done it all throughout the years. Is look, those are the bad guys. Come listen to me. I'm the cool guy. I'm not as bad as them. Like I was in a white school, right? Predominantly white, Caucasian. Before the Muslims came, like we were the only black family there, right? And this is what the white people would do because they hated the Muslims that came from the city. They were beating them up, taking their girls, right? They hated them. So I still had friends. Like I grew up with these white people in the town. Some of them would come to me and be like, yeah, we like you, Jimmy. You're not like the other guys. And I'd be like, yeah, I am like the other guys. What the hell are you talking about? I am like the other guys. What are you saying? But that was their way of like, I'm still cool with you. You're the cool guy. You're the cool black guy, not the Muslim.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's unfortunate because this is one thing they do. They appeal to people's desires. Most people would not choose to go the hard road the way that we went, to where it's not glamorous. It's not like there's nothing that feels good about. I would say honestly, I feel good, but I can understand. Sometimes friends of mine that I had from for years that are caught up in this mess that by their choice they don't deal with me anymore because they want to believe what they want to believe, and that's okay. But we're never gonna be friends. So it is hard for a lot of people to accept, and a lot of people, they want to ignore the shirk that they believe in, the kufr that they believe in. They want to ignore it and just be friends and socialize and interact with them. And so people like this, it's like a drug to those people. The people who they know the truth, but they want to follow their desires. like I mentioned before. It's like a person who has an alcohol addiction or something. A lot of these people who were part of the cult or were on the juice in the community that have left because they realize it's the right thing to do, but they still miss, the interactions and the camaraderie or whatever. And they want that. And so messages like this tell them, you know what? It's okay. It's okay to be involved in this shirk or whatever. It's okay to for them. And so what does it not only tell the person who doesn't believe in it, okay, the person who does not believe in it, but still wants to turn a blind eye to it. That's bad in and of itself. But this message also tells the person who does believe in it, it reinforces that belief. And, well, yeah, it is okay because they're okay with me. This whole message tells the people in TMOA that what we're doing is fine. This is just about a janazah. It's just about, whether you come or not, So it's about blocking people or not, It's not the real issue is hidden in this message. And it's distracted in this message. There's poison in this message, which makes the people who are weak, who are on the fence, it makes them slide back onto the wrong side of things. The people who are on the wrong side of things, it strengthens them, and it tries to drive a wedge and tries to drown out the voices of the people who are saying actually what is correct about the whole thing and not leaving anything out.
Okay. One very small group has recently advised Muslims not to attend the janazah of their own believing Muslim family members. All right, stop, pause.
Oh, we skipped the line, though. We skipped the line.
Sorry. These individuals, this one? This one,
said, unfortunately, we're now facing two groups of extreme individuals. So,
I totally lost it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, I mean, are we extreme? I mean, was that the ayah that we mentioned earlier about Ibrahim and how he dealt with the people who were believing in shirk and engaging in it? Was that extreme? Are we calling Allah extreme? Are we calling the messengers extreme? Are we saying Islam is extreme? So who's extreme?
It's crazy. So one of the issues that he brought up with me when he called me was there's a quote from Imam Ahmed, rahimahullah, who, when he was asked about attending a janazah of one of the innovators during his time, he said, between them and, he said, tell the people. It wasn't like he just told, he said, tell the people, between us and them are the funerals, are the janazahs. Meaning, we do not attend their funerals. And just to give a little bit more context, because he said I misused it and it doesn't apply or whatever. During the time of Imam Ahmed, the Mu'tazila were very popular. They actually gained power and influence over the government at the time. We talked earlier in the show about how Imam Ahmed was locked up and beaten and abused and all that. It was because of the Mu'tazila. They wanted him to say that the Quran was created. That's one of the Mu'tazila beliefs. They wanted him to say the Quran was created. Yeah. And he refused, of course. This is Imam Ahmed, right? Individual that was the judge that was torturing him and trying to get him to say it passed away. So he was talking about the Mu'tazila when he said we don't attend their funerals. Now get this. We just talked about TMOA and their beliefs, and anybody that actually believes in this, doubles down on it, defends it and all that, about there being parts of God coming on earth and being these sultans, that's clear shirk, or clear kufr. Now the Mu'tazila, they believe that the Quran was created, and they also denied destiny, predestination. Now, when we're talking about them as far as like whether they left the fold of Islam or not, there's actually legit difference of opinion, ikhtilaf, amongst the scholars of whether the Mu'tazila are actually Muslim or not, right? So some say like, yes, they're Muslim, but they're going to hell because the hadith says if you innovate, you're going to hell, but they'll eventually get out like all Muslims do, right? And there's others that say that no, they left the fold of Islam. The point being is you have a group of innovators that are possibly still considered Muslim. And Imam Ahmed said, don't go to their funerals. This applies perfectly to TMOA. Because even if you have a question of what we're saying about their beliefs, take them outside the fold of Islam, you know for a fact that at least it's an innovative belief. And you have Imam Ahmed saying, do not attend their funerals. You have the hadith from Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam who said, the Qadariya, the Mu'tazila actually came from the Qadariya, because the Qadariya are the first ones that actually had the belief that they denied Qadr, denied divine destiny, right? The Mu'tazila spawned off of them. And Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, don't attend their funerals. He didn't say they were kafirs, don't attend their funerals, because Muslims already know we can't attend the funerals of kafirs. He's speaking about the Qadariya, don't visit them when they're sick, don't go to their funerals. Like Mubarak said, are we the extreme ones? And if you're saying two extremes, right? If there's two extremes, let me tell you the extreme here. You have the one side, he'll talk about it a little bit, you have the one side in TMOA, and it's not the minority in TMOA, right? Well, maybe they are the minority numbers-wise, but they're the strength, right? Saying, we don't want these people coming to our lands and attending funerals. If you don't believe in what we believe, you're not allowed to attend. We're going to kick you out, prevent you from coming to our lands for janazas, right? They're saying you can't go. We put out a video saying you shouldn't go, right? Then you have this person, Hanif, saying you got to go. What's the opposite of can't? You got him. Actually, Hanif, you're actually the other extreme on this. We are actually the middle, saying you shouldn't go because they're innovators, because they're possibly kufr, and the other reasons of, for instance, that it's a funeral. The whole point of a funeral really is to get the person in the ground, not to have drama, not to have fights, not to have arguments, not to have people stranded on the road with bodies, figure out what you're going to do with them. You want to put the person in the ground. Oh, excuse me. It's respectful to them. It's respectful to the family. Now, how selfish could you be that just because you want to be part of the loop, that you're going to imagine me, when my old, someone I'm close with passes away from TMOA, somebody I used to be close with. And I put myself, excuse me, my throat is messed up. I put myself so selfishly that I'm going to show up to the funeral, knowing damn well what's going to happen at that funeral. People's going to probably try to fight me. They're going to try to kick me out. Why would I disrupt that family's funeral for what? So I could displease Allah? What? Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Absolutely does not make sense. These individuals do not represent the majority on either side of this unfortunate reality, which includes the separation of communities, families, and lifelong friends.
So, in that sentence, like I said, we gave the ayah that we quoted in the beginning of the show, that Allah says that if you obey most of the people on the earth, they will lead you astray from the path of Allah. So when he's saying that, this is a majority. I lost track of what they
each side of this reality, which includes separation of communities, families, and lifelong friends.
Lifelong friendships, yeah. So these are, they're not representing the majority. That's irrelevant. Actually, the people who are rightly guided, for the most part, are going to be the majority. I'm the minority. I'm sorry. Not going to be the majority. The majority of people, most of the people on the earth are misguided. That's most of the people. And most of the people on the earth are going to go to Jahannam. So there's not any sort of positive about just because you're with the majority. Now, if you're with the majority of the people who have the correct beliefs or something like that, I can see. But the majority of people in this instance, you have the people, the group is made up of, when you say the group, just the people who are some way either talking about or connected or inside of this group or whatever, dealing with this knowledge stuff, this answer stuff. So when you say the majority, on either side of this unfortunate reality, these individuals do not represent the majority. The Muslims don't represent the majority. The people who are radical don't represent the majority. That's not relevant. What is relevant is who is dealing with the Quran, the Sunnah, and the correct beliefs according to Islam. If we just deal with the majority of that, then maybe you have a legit claim about the majority mattering, right? You have a group of people who are dealing with the Quran and the Sunnah, and they use the Quran and the Sunnah to decide on an issue or to come to the conclusion on an issue. Then the majority of those people adhering to the Quran and the Sunnah, then you say that, well, the majority of people go with this. Then the majority matters. But when you say the majority, and the majority is mixed with a bunch of people who are clearly astray, then whether they are, the majority of the people who are astray, it doesn't matter. If you just grab a handful of people walking the earth, the majority of them are going to be astray. This is what is evident in the ayahs that Allah has revealed to us, and is evidence in the Sunnah. When Rasulullah said that 999 out of 1,000 people will go to Jahannam. So the majority is not relevant.
Absolutely. And I feel like for Hanif, because he's someone who does his best, I'll give credit for it. He tries to get back to the Quran and Sunnah, right? And so he has people who are more knowledgeable than him that he can go ask for advice, right? And oftentimes Hanif will mention about, he doesn't exist inside the echo chamber where people just, say the same things back to him that he just wants to hear and agree with. But like the thing is, okay, that could be true, but are you taking the advice from those who disagree with you? Are you actually contemplating on what they have to say to you in a juxtaposed their position? And listen, you have all these teachers that you can learn from. Go give them the details of the situation. Say, hey, these people here believe X, Y, and Z, right? Should I advise people to go attend their funerals? And let us know what the result is of that. I would love to hear from Orange Slayman or whoever the hell else about what the ruling is on going to attend the funeral of someone who believes in 7 gods.
The thing is this stuff, you'll rarely hear us commenting on stuff that isn't clear. This information is so easily accessible. One, we don't attend individual funerals. We don't, unless you have to, unless you're a family member that has to bury the person. We're not even supposed to associate and hang out and mingle with innovators. You'll see so many quotes from the Salaf like, yeah, don't let them eat with you. Don't do none of that with these people. And they're not saying kafirs, they're saying innovators, right? It's this topic is so clear. And yeah, I get it. We're not like robots that are like, oh, we just don't care about nobody or whatever. These are our family members, our mothers, our siblings, our children, our best friends that we grew up with. We are, like you said, we have this shared experience. We all have that same thing. But the difference is that I'll speak for myself, and I believe this about my close companions as well here in R2F, that we try our best to care more about the Quran and Sunnah than what our actual feelings are about something. So yes, if, Allah forbid, one of my beloved family members was a believer in TMOA, which alhamdulillah, none of them are. Let's say one of them was, and if they passed away, I would not be attending their funeral on the land. I would not, because of, I believe, based off of what the Quran and Sunnah says, what the Sahaba say, what the scholars say, that we're not supposed to attend the funerals of innovators. Now, if I was the only person available to bury them, yes, I'm going to take care of my brother's rights and bury that individual. Okay? So we have to have a mindset that our first reaction is, okay, I feel a certain way about doing something. We have a perfect example, right? Perfect example today. I'm going to ask the question, hey, can we go to what was it, wax museums, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I've been to a wax museum. Like, that's my first instinct. I went to, what do they call, like, Madame Moores or some crap like that. I remember going to one of those, but then I was like, well, I never thought about it before. So you go look it up and you're like, oh, damn, I shouldn't have went. Stock flow, may Allah forgive me. Because they're promoting images and statues and all that, and you didn't need to go. You have to go, your first instinct has to go, what does Allah and his messenger say about this? and I'm going to follow that because you're going to get more pleasure and more reward out of doing that, even though it might not feel good at the beginning because you're like, oh, everybody's going to expect me to be there. And like, I'm sorry, I'm going on a rant, but what really is a funeral? What really is a funeral? Listen, that dead body doesn't give a crap where it's buried. They don't care. You could throw them, they could throw them side of the road and bury it. They're not going to, no, get me up on the mountain. They're dead. They're fearing something way worse than like, oh, am I going to be buried on the land? Or how many people's going to attend? They're not thinking about any of that. Okay? They don't care. We're not going to care. When I'm dead, don't do any innovation. Put me in the ground. Do it for me as much as you can till you forget about me. Right? That's what I want you to do for me. Okay? Make sure my kids are good so I can give them Sadaqah Jariyah. Do that. Do all that. We're not going to care. So people, when you realize that, the real reason why people attend funerals is because you want to show everybody else there that you actually care about this person.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You want to show, and when you put it in the context of this cult life, right? We had people that were like, you know, and I hope, well, we don't care people. I mean, I don't want to offend people, but things I say offend people. We had people literally contemplating and planning to go stand on the side of a road and watch people go to a funeral because they knew they weren't going to be allowed to go. If that isn't showing off, I don't know what is. Why are you doing that? That doesn't make any sense, right? Imagine going to Juma, right? You're not allowed to pray Juma. It's like, I'm going to go watch them pray. Why?
Knowing that they might fight you
After Juma. Yeah. I remember when I was younger, I used to go to a janazas as a kid just to show off fits. Had a new Shamal Kameez. I was ready to show that y'all a new coupe he made.
But that's the thing. It's like we have to really start thinking about what we're doing. And as you get, you know, I'm not going to say like, I'm not going to try to put myself or ourselves as like we're the perfect examples, but we should always try to represent the Quran and Sunnah to the best of our ability. And like I said, this stuff is out there. It's not like we have Google. We have trusted websites where people have asked these same questions thousands of times from very reputable sources. And you could just Google in your question, can I attend the janazah of an innovator? And 5 or 6 respectable sources will come up and tell you the very clear answer of what you should and shouldn't do. We're not saying anything from our own opinion. We're not making up fatwas. We're just repeating stuff.
It's just people's feelings, man. They want to feel a certain way. Said these individuals do not represent the majority on either side of this unfortunate reality. Well, what's the unfortunate reality? You see, I'm telling you, what is the unfortunate reality? Well, what is it? And which includes the separation of communities. Who's doing that? Who's actually doing that? Families and lifelong friendships. It's actually not us.
At all.
We're not doing that at all. But the thing is, this thing is, and if you look at what's absent here, and I think you might have mentioned it, right? What's absent here is Quran, Hadith. There's nothing. We can bring an ayah for every single one of these lines here that will slap it in the face and smack it down. There's an ayah for every single one. I mean, look at the next sentence. One very small group has recently advised Muslims not to attend the janazah of their own believing Muslim family members. Number one, we already proved that believing, well, we don't believe in the same thing. Listen, okay, someone is not Muslim. Someone has a belief that's not part of Islam. Allah says, "Qul huwa Allahu ahad." Okay? I believe in that. We believe that wholeheartedly. Allah is one.
It's not like it.
There's nothing comparable, nothing similar to Allah. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. There's nothing comparable to him. There's nothing equivalent. No one is on his level. He doesn't have any partner. لا شريك له. لا شريك له. Okay? All these things we believe in. Everything about the TMOA belief as stated by their leader, the one who originated that group, and the one who they say they follow, who's a perfect guide, has said that it's the opposite, that he has the attributes of Allah, that he's part of Allah, that him and his son and a couple others people they have attributed to be part. He has told lies on Allah, told lies on the Sahaba, okay, told lies on the Messenger. So, it is that's the unfortunate reality. That's the main thing. But when he says one very small group, I mean, so why even put
extra
that in
adjectives? There? Yeah, the extra adjectives just to
there?
demean and belittle our efforts.
Yeah. This is one of the tactics that they try to use to throw you off. Well, if it's a small group, we don't even care whether you say it's a small group or not.
Yeah.
But I would say that's not even relevant. But just to say it's small, why did he use this choice of words to try to fool you people who he actually is really disrespecting you? He really looks at you as dummies. That he can use this a very small group. Oh, it's a small group. Oh, that must mean what? Well, when Rasulullah when Allah told him "Qum fa'anzir," how big of a group did he have? And so the size of the group. What does Allah say? What the people who were with followed when they said when they knew they would meet Allah. How many qalilatan? How many a small group? What's the ayah? Man, I done forgot how it goes. Actually, the point is, كم من فئة قليلة غلبت فئة كثيرة بإذن الله. How many a small group overcomes and takes over a large group بإذن الله, with the permission of Allah. So the size of the group is not relevant. The truth is what's relevant. The truth is what's big. The truth, when Allahu Akbar, Allah is the greatest. Allah is the biggest. And the truth is with Allah. So him using, one small girl who has recently advised Muslims to not attend to janazah. No hadith to back it up. No Quran to back it up. Nothing all the way down through all this sensational lies, tugging at your heartstrings, treating you like a fool and an idiot, thinking that you'll just fall for this stuff. Come here, come to me. Didn't call to the Quran, did not call to the Sunnah.
Yep.
But just called to the belief. And what keeps working on you people actually is the fact that you'll follow your desires and you will follow what feels good. So he used that and just going to tell you a bunch of stuff that's really going to sink you deeper into the hole that you're already in.
And what is this? The one line that reminds me of what the pagan Quraysh used to say to Rasul Sallallahu or about Rasul Sallallahu is you're separating the communities and families and lifelong friendships. While the truth does that with falsehood. Like what's the ayat where Allah says the truth comes like rain and washes away all the musk, all the dust or whatever, the dirty foam of the floods. It's all falsehood. And the truth cleans it all out. And that's what happens. Yes, like people are saying, they're causing fitna and this and this and this and that, right? When you stand upon the truth, yes, there's going to be separation because the people want to stay on falsehood. Or the people that either there's going to be three groups. We can go to the three groups. Anytime there's a situation, there's three groups, right? There's a group calling to the truth. Then there's a group doing the falsehood. Then there's a group in the middle that stays on the fence. And we can go back to the story of the Yahud, right? When there was a group of people that are saying, don't fish on Saturday, or don't put your nets out on Friday, don't fish on Saturday, this is wrong. Allah has said not to do this. You had the group that was doing it. Then you had the scholars or the rabbis in the middle that were like, we're not going to say anything. Just don't say anything. Let's just be cool with everybody. Let's just be on the fence. Not saying that, these people that are on the fence are non-Muslims and are going to be cursed or all this and that. But the point is that Allah punished those other two groups and not the group that was calling to the truth. So there's danger in remaining in the middle. And when you're saying these, I know he doesn't realize it, but you're saying things the Meccan pagans used to say to Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, "Oh, you're causing division, right? Let's all get along and be happy, right?" What happened when Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam passed away? What happened when Rasul passed away?
Red Devils.
A bunch of tribes said, "We ain't paying zakat. We'll do all that, but we ain't paying zakat." Yeah, another tribe, we ain't making salat. Another tribe, like, yeah, we got a new prophet, right? And the Sahabas, even Umar radiallahu anhu was like, just be easy with them. Just be patient with them. Like, let's be kind of soft with them. Abu Bakr jumped on his horse and said, in the minority, right? He's the Khalifa, in the minority. One person jumped on his horse, grabbed his sword and said, I'm going to go get him myself. And then it was like, oh, shoot, well, he's serious. And then they realized the gravity of the situation. And because of Abu Bakr standing up on the truth, using his wisdom, not worried about hurting anybody's feelings, he actually saved the Ummah with his action. Because if he had not done that, Islam would have been done. Because would have had prophets over here, over there. The Ummah would have split up. He kept the Ummah together. And he was the minority at that point. Other Sahabas were saying, yeah, just be easy with them. Be nice. But yeah.
Absolutely. And just to really reinforce the point as well, is just, listen, this would be an issue for Muslims if we didn't have 1,000 years of history prior and various accounts from the Sahaba of their family members trying to hold a ransom to leave Islam, right? Everyone knows the story of Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, one of the Asr al-Mashra, right? His mother, I will not eat or drink or anything of that nature until you leave Islam. And listen, Sa'd still took care of his mother, obviously, but he didn't renege on his religion because his mother was going to basically kill herself instead of eating food to, hey, listen, no, don't do this anymore. No. Sa'd stayed firm in his religion. It didn't waver because, oh, my family, my mother, that's his only, right? Some of these people, they have a hard time understanding that just because you have numbers does not mean you're correct. There was 1 million crusaders who came to Jerusalem and killed every Muslim there. But they're correct. It's not. The numbers don't really mean you're correct, right? Every major Muslim conquest has been the Muslims who are a small group outnumbered by the Kuffar, all right? When Tariq ibn Ziyad came to Al-Andalus and fought against the Spaniards, all right? The Spaniards had, some reports say 180,000, right? He had 12,000 men. Tariq ibn Ziyad, sort of like Khalid, sort of like ourselves, right? He said, listen, I'm going to burn every ship we have here, all right? Because we're not going back. We're going to go forward and conquer Andalusia. There is no going back. There is no failure. This is our only chance. And this is, like, people like, you guys are so extreme. You guys burn the bridge. No, we destroyed the bridge. This is different. We're not trying to go back and play both sides, because what's happening is these people on the bridge, right? The bridge is being burned from both sides, right? You have the folks who are, oh yeah, we hate y'all, right? They hate us, and you're trying to be in between us and them, right? So when the bridge eventually burns on both sides, right, you're gonna fall in the water, and then you're gonna try to swim. Save us, save us, save us. This is where you're at now. This is why you keep leaving the group. You keep trying to just be stuff from R2F for really no reason at all. Like, we don't dislike you. We don't have disdain for you, hate for you. It's performative. It's whatever you're trying to do behind the scenes. Us being firm on our stance for the Quran and Sunnah and being against TMOA and everything you stand for is hurting whatever you're trying to do. I don't know if it's family members. I don't know if it's this person, that person, but it's hurting what you're trying to get to.
Yep. And I got to point out that line of one very small group recently advised Muslims not to attend the Jazna of their own believing Muslim family members. This is a lie. This is a complete lie. And you guys can go back and watch the video yourselves. And I never said do not attend the funerals of your own Muslim believing family members. The only thing that was said is that if they're being buried on the land,
don't go.
And they're not going to allow you to attend, and that they're going to perform acts of innovation, then you probably should not go. You should not attend. If it is clear that they do not believe in the 7 sultans and somehow they're stuck, because there's multiple individuals that are off the juice that are still in the community because they live there, they don't want to lose their homes or whatever situation they're in. And if, for instance, we know these people. If one of those people returns to Allah, I'm not going to attend their funeral, even though I know they're a Muslim believing, and they might even be somebody, one of our family members. And we're like, okay, well, we know they're off the juice, and we gave a solution for that. We would say, hey, brother or sister so-and-so passed away, y'all. We should make janazah for them. We can make janazah salatul abstentia without the body. That way we don't go to the land, possibly cause a fight, cause drama, and disrupt this person's burial.
Who are they?
Real quick, because we talked about this when we talk about the cult of TMOA. Where do people usually get stuck at when leaving the cult? There's stages, right? The first
They
stage
blame
is
that.
like, yeah, oh, go, you got the answer?
They blame the administration, right?
Exactly.
And for some reason,
Exactly.
they don't appoint. They don't say, "Hey, the person who placed these people in charge, right? The Umayyads who placed Hajjaj ibn Yusuf in charge are not at fault. Hajjaj is at fault. The Umayyads placed him at charge. So Hajjaj ibn Yusuf being extreme and doing all this stuff in their honor and their name doesn't say, okay, well, it's only Hajjaj. No, the Umayyad Khalifa who's in charge, he is also at fault for appointing this person in charge, sending him to do this, right? So when Hajjaj goes under the command of the Umayyad Khalifa and puts Abdullah ibn Zubair on a spike, one of the rest of Habib on a spike, that's on them as well. It's not just like, okay, Hajjaj was a rogue agent. No, they knew he was wild. That's why they pulled him.
Yep. It's just playing into that. Yeah, he's playing into that. I know there's a large group of people that they're comfortable with not blaming Mubarak Chalani and just blaming a small group of administrators. It's just admin. This is just politics. Everything's fine with the Jamaat. It's just admin. And he knows this. And he's purposely trying to grab onto or cater towards that group. It's not just administrators preventing people from going to funerals. It's a lot of people actually in the community, right? In the recent janazah that just happened, some knowingly non-TMOA people were allowed to attend after much drama and back and forth, whatever. Family members of the deceased that were not in TMOA were allowed to attend. You know how many just regular citizens or members of TMOA were giving them dirty looks, saying nasty phrases to them, telling them to get out of it? It wasn't a small group of administrators. No, the community is split. There's some people that are like cool with ex-TMOA people, but that's the silent minority that they can't say anything because if they know you're cool with ex-TMOA members, then they're going to get put on the list, right? The majority of them like, no, we don't want those people here. We believe in what our Sheikha is saying, that we're the best Muslims and these people aren't really Muslims, that they're all munafiqs, they can't be here, right? They believe that. So to just put on the administration is wrong, and it's purposely manipulating people. And like we said, the main danger is that he's preventing people from progressing on their path toward the truth. He's the siren. He's the lady singing out to you with nice words that you want to hear to come back to this place that it's like, it's going to be comfortable here. It's going to be comfortable maintaining your friends and your relationship that we've had these lifelong bonds. Let's keep them. Don't worry about the Quran and Sunnah yet because I haven't even mentioned it and I don't need to mention it at all yet. Yep. Yeah. Mhm. Right.
Absolutely. And I just want to backtrack real quick to when he says certain administrators, right? There may be one, but I'm not gonna say. But besides them, right? Who is part of the administration of TMOA that doesn't believe and follow in the followings of Jelani, who doesn't support behind Umnor's veil and hide
Mhm.
under her skirt and crib the hallways for her Wilo to get there, right? So besides that one person, right? Okay. Everyone else is following under the leadership and they're going to follow to a T. This is like when people try to say, oh, the IDF is bad, the Israelis aren't bad. I have seen videos of Israeli settlers, all right, sitting down, setting up tents and watch parties to go see the bombing in Gaza. You're going to tell me these are good human beings? Like, let's not kid
Well,
ourselves here.
it's like saying like certain IDF shoulders are killing women and children.
But not all of them, because some of them are just sitting on Peter, sitting missile strikes from afar. Also,
It's almost like, now you pointed out, it's almost like he's also trying to reach certain maybe administrators that he might have been cool with in the past to like say, oh, I'm not talking about you.
absolutely. I'm just going to point out, listen, how do you live in the Carolinas and the janaza was in the Carolinas? So
Why don't he go?
did you attend the janaza for Brother Wadu who passed away, who these people contact you? So clearly you have some sort of connection with him and them. So hopefully you know, representing the neutral side, because the majority is on your side according to you. So you should have been able to attend there perfectly. No fault, no fighting, nothing. You should have just said, okay, I need this there. You know, we all agree with him. He's the neutral side. We're all on his side. So hopefully you attended. You know, you didn't attend, but we hope. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can tell me afterwards. Hey, no, I was there. Here's me. I had a photo shoot. Janazah house can fly. Walk the walk. Yeah. Okay, let's see. The
But
only way to resolve this fitna is to return to authentic sunnah. Prior to this,
but this is the trick. This is the
please,
trick.
man. A reach.
A will goes into effect when someone dies. That's
Yes.
it.
Yeah. And I was going to say real quickly, just for or he didn't find any support for his stance, and so he used something very offshoot, very off the wall to try and support his argument, and this is where he landed upon.
Reminds me of somebody.
Opposite.
Yeah. And here's the thing. He definitely didn't miscopy it because he provided a template for a will, right? A whole template for a will to fill in. And, this is where he gets into it. He says, we prepared a template for you to use, and we encourage you to complete it and share it with your family, especially those who might discourage or prevent others from attending your janazah, which can harm your hereafter. Okay. So here's a couple of things. One, it's a common trick that when you want to act like you gave support for something you're saying, you give support that, like Mubarak said, actually isn't the right context, but somehow is related to it. And then if a person's not reading careful enough, they're like, oh yeah, he provided support, right? But he didn't. He transitioned to wills and testament. Second issue is he just confirmed this. And this, I always like doing this with messages where they contradict themselves in their own message. He says early on, right, another small group associated with certain administrators have become notoriously by actively preventing Muslims from attending janazas. So according to him, who's the one preventing people from attending janazas? This small group of administrators. But at the bottom, he then says, write this will and share it with your family. Your family's not the one that's preventing them. It's the administrators. You should probably go share it with the administrators if this was actually going to work, right? The people that are actually stopping people from going to the janazah. Third, and this is a very important point, and because it's delusional, at the best, it's naive, and this advice is totally unserious, right? We're talking about a cult group that doesn't respect the rights of Allah, doesn't respect the rights of Rasulullah. He himself, they don't respect the rights of marriage. They forced his wife to divorce him. They don't respect the rights of husband and wife. They don't respect the rights of returning salams. They don't respect the rights of allowing people to go to masjids. they don't respect the rights of a Muslim attending another Muslim's janazah. But guess what? Hanif is saying that they respect the rights of wills. The leader of TMOA is in a will dispute right now for millions of dollars because she's not following the Quran and Sunnah in respect to wills. What kind of silly advice is this to give people? Yeah, put it in your will and it's gonna be okay. And then the last point I wanted to make is he says preventing others from attending your janazah can harm your hereafter. Correct me if I'm wrong. I never heard of anything of people attending your janazah or not attending your janazah that is going to actually harm your hereafter as the deceased. Okay, yep, you're right. You're right. Yep. But is there a harm? Is there a harm? Like if you're below 5, you're going to get punished.
Yeah. Or flies. See, may Allah soften our hearts, grant us a good ending, and bless us with Jennifer Dose, the slave of Allah, Hanif J. Williams.
If I just put in the chat room for if anybody's had any questions, post them in the chat room. I just wanted to say real quick in regards to just the cult, exiting a cult and the life cycle of exiting a cult. We talked about this before, and I had stuff on this in like my real early videos on the channel we lost. We probably should do some more content on that so people can know what to expect. But a lot of things, what happens is when you separate yourself from a cult in the cult group, there's stages you go through, and we all kind of go through the same stages. Some just go through them faster or slower or whatever. But a lot of times what happens is people revert, right? They revert back to previous stages, and they think they're actually like moving along in the process. And typical signs of you'll see that is that they actually fluctuate to great extremes. Like it's like one day they'll be saying like, first a cult, after cult, I can't stand them. They all need to die. They all need to blow up. Then the next day they're like, no, but I love them, and we shouldn't even talk. Like they'll go all over the place like a roller coaster, right? And that is showing that they're actually not good or in a safe place. They're still healing. There's still trauma there. They're still trying to deal with being separated from what, was their entire life, right? And we really wanted to talk about this. Like we already said, like we didn't want to pinpoint Hanif. We didn't want to bring it up. We didn't want to, backfire and just go to his head and think that like, we wanted to really just advise the people of what to beware of, because there are going to be people as you wake up and recognize like, wait, this is wrong. I want to follow the Quran and Sunnah. And then Shaitan doesn't stop like, he found me out, I guess I got to move on to the next one. Shaitan pivots. He's got the master pivot game, right? He's going to change strategies, change games. He's going to move on to the next step. And, just classically, so Shaitan's going to try to get you to sin, right? If he can't get you to sin, then he's going to try to do the next step. And like to the people that he's like, he can't get to sin, then I'm going to get them to waste their time at least, right? There's stages that he takes, right, to get people. So when we're talking about this cult stuff, right, and you're talking about the goal is I want to be totally separated from, here's the end goal, in my opinion. This is my opinion. I'm not saying this is like, I could probably justify it with the Quran and Sunnah, but here's my opinion. When you leave a cult and you talk about the different stages, I believe that part of the final stage, like, oh, I am Super Saiyan now, like I have leveled up, I am professional, is when you actually actively start working to give dawah to the cult people. Publicly, knowingly, like you're out there, boots on the ground saying, hey, I am Jafar or James Griffin. I don't believe in that, and y'all shouldn't either, and I'm working against it, right? Out front in the public. That's like part of the final goal. Now, if you look at that as a final goal, what Shaitan's going to do is he's going to do things to prevent you from getting to that goal, right? And the big middle part of that goal is just be quiet and live your life. Just live your life. Be cool with everybody. Don't let anybody really know where you stand. Just don't say anything, right? You can hate it in your heart. And then that hate it in your heart turns to, you could be okay with it in your heart. And then that okay with it in your heart turns to, you know what? I need to speak against the people that are preaching against the falsehood, right? And Shaitan is slowly dragging you back to a place that is, because look, TMOA doesn't even publicly refute us. Think about that. TMOA does not publicly refute R2F, but we have people that are non-TMOA publicly refuting R2F. Think about where Shaitan has brought you on that path. You are doing the work for TMOA, not even knowing about it. That's crazy.
Absolutely. And just I'm gonna say this last thing is okay. So I have something I call the Derek Rose theory. Okay, and essentially how it works is once someone either dies or passes away, right? Because basically Derek Rose after his ACL injury, he's like, listen, all right, okay. People tend to overrate them, right? And they tend to just like glorify the things that they did, excuse anything bad. It was like, okay, people believe, hey, Derek Rose will be double the player of Westbrook or Curry, right? Okay. So when these people, right, who were upon falsehood or misguidance, right, when they pass away, because you know them, right, you're like, oh, it's such a great man. You try to excuse and excuse away all other falsehood and their misguidance that they did when they were alive because, oh, hey, their affairs are for law and, they weren't even all that bad. Who knows? Maybe, right before he died, he said, I denounce your lying beliefs. Or maybe Queen Elizabeth was secretly Muslim. Maybe he was saying, said, like, before, like, you could do this for any person or anything, right? This is like, okay, well, if Derek Bowles stayed healthy, he would have won 4 rings. Like, no, that's like, we tend to overrate folks whenever they pass away to us.
Yeah.
Oh, dang, if only because seeing their full potential. If only he would have, before he passed away, I do would have come back to Islam properly. It would have been fine, but it didn't happen. That's the whole thing. Like, oh, sounds good. Oh man, that's so sad. It didn't happen though. He didn't do that. Derek Bowles didn't stay healthy. Like, I'm sorry, and
Yep.
and everyone loved Derek Bowles,
Yep.
but it didn't happen that way.
Yep. Yeah. Yes. I think Amr touched on it too earlier. Is that aspect of guilt, because anybody who's had a family member that was either non-Muslim or what, now people that are going through the Jamaat that pass away, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can't attend their funeral, but like Mubarak said, the real sadness is like, dang, I could have said something, I could have done more, maybe if I'd have brought it up more times, or this person might have accepted the message, or whatever. And we all have to go through that, unfortunately. That's and I will say this, that we still do interviews for anybody that wants to do it. We still do allow people to come on the show and tell their story and be public. And you never know, the one person that you may have to attend their funeral, guess what? You coming on the show or being public about your beliefs and saying, I don't believe it, that might be the straw that breaks that person's back, that says, you know what? I'm going to abandon this falsehood too. Like I said, we have people that are stuck in TMOA, like you said, involuntarily, have been clear, like, yeah, I don't believe in this stuff. And alhamdulillah for them, at least they got to that point. Yeah.
Listen, yep.
with the end on. Where you want to close this out? Remember to stay
Yes.
on until upload, you guys.
Yes, just real quick for Hanif. Maybe he wasn't aware, but we've spent a lot of time trying to research these topics and uncover falsehoods and try to make certain things clear, certain things that may have been hidden, right? And Bard mentions this all the time about how there's this place, in Pakistan where Ali, right? He allegedly fought a giant, expelled him from the cave, and killed a demon, right?
That's gonna be in my will. Make sure you bury me alive.
In all seriousness, though, Hanif, listen, there isn't hate, beef between us. We just listen. When you're wrong, we're gonna tell you you're wrong, as you have no problem telling us when you think that we're wrong. And really, this is sincere advice from us to you. We love you as a Muslim brother. We hope that you do well, and use your platform for good, inshallah, going forward.
Okay, we're off.
Still in Pakistan.
Offline. Yeah, stay
Yes.
on. We're offline, so let me press stop.